everybody, it's EK from EK Gorman Designs, and I am coming in today with my Fast 5 cards from the October Glory of Autumn subscription kit from White Rose Crafts. I just got the kit in the other day, and these are the first 5 projects I've made using all the different supplies from the kit. If you missed my unboxing, I will connect a link so you can see all the different beautiful products that are in this Autumn Glory box. My first card that I'm making is using the Anita's DoCraft, the Anita's decoupage foil die cuts. These are pre-punched cuts that you punch out and you're able to stack upon one another to make a dimensional scene. This one's really cool because it's got a foil adhesive, that's not right. The foil within it giving it a lot of shine and reflection. I'm using some Woodware mini mounts, and if you notice, I'm cutting them in half for along the frame edges. I love these tiny little three-dimensional stickers. However, once you cut them in half, the backs don't want to come off like they do when they're regular. So you're watching me, with probably great amusement, struggle at taking off little pieces of paper. Yeah. But I don't know any other way to stack it, and so you're watching my hands move ultra fast. This is 8 times faster than I actually did it. So while it might seem forever for you to watch it, you should have been here trying to peel little pieces of stickers off. Also, I keep my nails really short, and without a fingernail to stick under there, it makes it even more difficult. Yeah. But the effect of stacking them all is really quite beautiful. I pulled out some of the that's a piece plain cardstock, and knew I kind of wanted to create a little frame around on the cardstock for the decoupage die cuts to sit upon. I used the brown scrapberry ink provided in the kit and realized that my stamping platform was not the way to go. You get so used to using your stamping platform, you forget that you actually have acrylic blocks that can do the job for you. Yeah. Old school right here, coming back in with hand stamping, and I am the world's worst stamper. I don't know if you know this, but the stamping platforms were a lifesaver for me because I can't stamp to save my life. Funny trait in a card maker. But yeah. So I rimmed this little piece of cardstock with some orange. It doesn't show up great, but it actually keeps the paper from, it helps the paper blend into what's under it. For the base of my card, I used a piece of the Aspire Petaletics. It's that bronze metallic paper that's really, really cool. It comes in the kit. And I set the decoupage in the center. That was where I was going to end the card. And I realized it just, that was the plan. This right here. This was the whole plan. We're going to leave it at that. It says fall, done. And it didn't work. You know, sometimes you actually assemble something and you're like, oh, that didn't work. So then I decided, okay, maybe if we add a little sentiment with the Stupendous, from the Stupendous stamp set that comes in the kit. And I went with Happy Fall, Y'all. And stamped it out in some black VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I probably should have used some StazOn, but because I didn't touch it, I was okay. I had a momentary thought of putting some Nouveau drops from the Autumn Red that comes in the kit, but that also didn't seem like the right color red. So in the end, I pulled out a couple of the stamps from the stamp set and just kind of delicately stamped in some black around the edges, making the paper look more like a printed paper instead of just a solid piece of bronze metallic. And in the end, I loved how it turned out. Check out all that cool dimension on the decoupage. And there you go, there's the first card. For the second card, I wanted to utilize the feathers that are in the kit. There's actually a lot you can do with the feathers, and I've been playing with them, learning how to shape them and mold them. But for this one, I just wanted to show you how to very easily and basically use the feathers. I started by pulling out the turkey stamp from the Stupendous stamp set and pulling out the 2 ink pads that come in the kit. And I added the brown pigment ink and then the orange pigment ink. And you get to watch me be a goober because I stamp it and didn't realize I didn't line the paper up correctly. So it wasn't a clean stamp because, again, I'm the world's worst stamper. So I go to stamp again, and you're going to learn how bad of a stamper I really am. Here we go. I fix the paper. And guess what? I'm not perfect. So we tried again. Good news is I didn't need the paper for anything else, so I just flipped it around, reapplied some ink, and because the ink pad was, the stamp was really, really saturated with ink, it was a perfect stamp first time. I trimmed it up and added some of the brown around the edges to distress it, and then added just a hint of orange so it all kind of melded together. And then pulled out my the piece of paper that I'd trimmed down to just under an A2 size so that you'd get a little white rim around it. This is one of the pieces of paper that comes in the kit, and it might be my favorite piece of paper because the colors in it are just gorgeous. I pulled out 4 different feathers from 4 different colored feathers and was kind of playing around, but that red was just totally the wrong shade of red. So I trimmed all the feathers up because I just wanted the tops of them sticking out of the stamped image. And believe it or not, score tape was enough to hold those feathers down. Like, all I needed was just the score tape, a couple layers of score tape, and the feathers were stuck down. It helped that I probably laid the stamped image on top of them to really seal them in, but score tape was enough to adhere them. I didn't need a liquid adhesive, which was very relieving. So there we go. I pulled out the big sticker sheet and picked a sentiment from it, which actually I think went perfectly with everything. And then decided I needed a little bit of accent and pulled out a bit of the raffia that's provided in the kit and made a little bow using the tips of my scissors to help tie the knot, because not only am I the world's worst stamper, I'm a really bad bow maker. I mean, really bad bow maker. I still use a fork to make bows. I was feeling ultra lazy, so I just used some of the Autumn Red Nuvo Drop to glue it down instead of actually finding my liquid adhesive. Because again, feeling ultra lazy. But I love how card 2 came out. It might be my favorite card from this series of Fast 5 cards. My third card, I decided to play with the doilies and use the doilies to accent, as well as the buttons. Now, when you get the buttons, they still have their traditional button backing on them, which makes adhering them to a paper project really difficult because that button backing, in fact, gets in the way. By the way, here's me not being perfect again. I laid it down wrong, but I fixed it. It's the nice thing about paper is, it's kind of forgiving sometimes. I trimmed the doily up so it would fit perfectly on the corner and still leave that white edge from the card frame behind. And then I pulled out the buttons. Now, I'd experimented with them and proven I could snip the back off, but it's really just a little bit of force and you can snip those button holes right off and you can get a fairly flat card, especially if you take in a little dimensional tape. You would never know that things were uneven. There we go. Here we go. And I've snipped. I think the acorn bits are my favorite part of it. So I used, again, some of that Woodware mini mounts to pop them onto my card. And I don't know why, but I thought some liquid adhesive would really work, and it did. The problem with this liquid adhesive, it takes a little bit to dry. When it dries, it works great. The process of leading up to the dry, there is some sliding. It's that glue is my favorite glue when I'm doing a big mixed media project. I don't use it on cards much because the dry time is so bad. So yeah. I ended up putting a little 3D adhesive there, and on the top one only used the glue. Now I let things dry, and I came back and picked out a sentiment, which you can't see which one I'm picking because I'm a moron. We all know that. And I adhered it down. The sticker, I didn't really think I'd like the stickers because I don't use stickers much, but it was such a simple, easy way, and the sentiments on the sticker pack were really fun that it was a really great, simple way to add a sentiment to a card. Here, I did decide to add some of the red Nuvo Drops to the card, and I like how the red accented, like there isn't necessarily red in the card, but the red pulled out. Some nice colors within that printed paper. Card 4, I decided to use the letter stickers. I do this technique a lot when I'm working on a canvas, where I take out some like old stickers and in fact just make a background out of old letter stickers. I don't really do it on cards, but I figured it would work, and it does. There was no rhyme or reason to the letters I picked. At one point I was like, oh, I should have spelled out like Thanksgiving or autumn or something, and I didn't. But it was just random letters. And you're going to learn the R's in the wrong place. I pulled out one of the green doilies, and I love the texture on the doily, so I made a decision just to snip the center out of the doily and use just the center as if it was a die cut piece. And then I kind of played around with the edges and decided, you know what, let's use the whole doily, just not the way it was originally assembled. So using some adhesive, I just kind of put the doilies back into the corners. Yeah. And that texture and pattern worked. Now, it doesn't look like it works now. See, I told you the R is in the wrong spot. And again, I'm a goober and set the doily on top of sticky adhesive on my mat. I did clean the sticky adhesive mat off the mat and then trimmed off the doilies that were hanging over the edge. I've got a little bit there. Only after the fact did I realize that the O coming out of the top of the circle cut made the whole card look like an ornament. So I made a really fun Christmas card here. It may say happy always, but it feels like a Christmas card because of the way that that O comes out of the top of the center. Maybe it's just me, but tell me it doesn't look like a Christmas card now. I added the jelly bean soup sticker sentiments and used the bottom one to cover up my little mistake. And again, pulled out the Autumn Red Nuvo drops to add some more color to the card. I think the card looks Christmassy because it's also in that green, that sage green and beautiful red color. Anyway, there's card 4. My final card today features some of the 12 by 12 paper that's provided in the kit. I cut it down to just, again, under an A2 card frame, and then pulled out my distressing tool and distress the edges. This was mainly done because my paper cutter is really bad right now and I need a new blade on it, and the paper was already distressed, so I was like, wow, when in Rome. And distressed the snot out of it, and then adhered it to a card frame. Here I did remember the coolness of using your acrylic block, and I pulled out some distressings. I have carved pumpkin, candied apple, and fossiled amber, the distress oxide, sprayed it with water, and then just stamped it onto a cheap, and this is a really cheap piece of watercolor paper, but the effect is very cool. I pulled another one of the stamps out, put it onto my acrylic block, and once again inked it up with the 3 colors going from the lightest to the darkest. And then a quick spray of water gives you that kind of almost looks like a real fall leaf. I wanted to add a little bit more of the detail the stamp in, so I used some of my brown Scrapberry pigment ink on top of it, and in the end I think it really gave it that leaf look. I fussy cut the leaves out and then pulled this blue strip of paper, actually from the Anita's decoupage set. I punched it out and used it as a trim for the card, and I like how the blue, because blue and orange are complementary colors, I like how the blue really helps pop the orange behind it. And then I added back on the leaves as if they were falling from the sky. This is a sticker from the 12 by 12 sticker page. And then I grabbed a brad and picked, I couldn't decide which color brad. There were so many good color brads. And the nice thing about these brads is you can use them as brads, or you can wiggle the brad off like I've done, add a dimensional square, and simply add it to your card. And there's the final card from today's Fast 5 cards, featuring the October Glory of Autumn subscription kit. The kit goes on sale October 1st, but it is available for pre-order now. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, click the dragon up in the corner, and that will subscribe you to my page. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.